let's take a look at the PulseChain ecosystem here. We'll take a look at the prices, maybe just pull up the Pulse chart here in a moment. PulseChain hasn't really seen yet, and of course this is just very short term, last day, but hasn't been the beneficiary of this ETH news all that much at all yet. But we got Pulse sitting at 48% below the SAC rate, 4 zeros and a 5.2. Pulse X, we're at 4 zeros 2.3. Incentive token is down below $3 now, 288. Hex really seemed to have taken a hit here, I think. It's down to 007. And then eHex, if I'm allowed to report on it, is at 0017. So it's held up pretty nicely, probably because it was decimated so badly already. So, yeah. What do you make of where we are there? And if you wanted to, wherever you want to go and whatever you want to pull up here.
Yeah, so I think that eHex ratio was at almost 1 to 8 or 1 to 9.
Yeah.
At one point, it's closed back to like 4 to 1 now again.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's bullish. Something that I wanted to bring up and think about a little bit more is, maybe, and I forget who, somebody did mention it, and I forget who it was, or I'd give them credit for it, but a lot of the main sacrificers for PulseChain, the big ones, all got between 2.5 and 1.75x multipliers on the large cap investors. And we've been looking at this price at, that 0.3 zeros and a 1 for the longest time. But I'm thinking that we may want to reframe that, because honestly, the 4 zeros and a 5 with that 2x average multiplier should probably technically be the SAC rate instead of the
people.
Yeah, for a lot of people. I mean, average anyway, because like I said, it went all the way up to 2.5 x, and the large buyers got in anywhere from 2.5 to probably 1.75 x on the return. So the average probably puts that, right at, this number, right where we're at. So, I just wonder your thoughts on, are we framing it the wrong way? And did we have too much expectations initially that was the SAC price? Because, for, dollar for points anyway, that's technically what it was. However, without that multiplier, without that bonus, and with it becomes half of that. So
Now, it sounds like you're moving the goalpost here a little bit, if I may say so myself. No, I get where you're coming from, and it is interesting that we've always just kind of said sacrifice rate for 0001 when that isn't actually true for every every sacrifice that occurred. So, yeah, I get where you're coming from, and to your point, that 4 zeros and a 5, I mean, that has served as pretty obvious support here over the last few weeks that we've come down here. I mean, even the other day, today wasn't so great. We saw some downward price action, but even I can't even keep my days straight anymore. But the other day, it dipped just below that 5 number.
Yeah.
So yeah, it has been serving as new support. So yeah, I definitely think there's something to that. Yeah.
Well, there is a lot of support in this area. There was resistance all the way over here until it finally kind of broke through it a little bit. But yeah, we're not holding our old line of growth very much. That's why I just left this on here, because we kind of drew it back here when we saw this steady rise, hoping that we could continue that rate. But and then I thought about it. I'm like, well, maybe we're overshooting it. And then the real reason kind of came out today, and I don't know if you saw it or not. There was several people that didn't even really want anyone reporting on it because they didn't want to FUD anything. But there's been a massive seller, just dumping a lot, and they've been doing it in a really shady way, because it hasn't been catching anybody that's been watching the blockchain, because they've been sending it over to MetaMask on the Ethereum side and selling it that way on MetaMask, not using a...
Oh man, so MetaMask swap, you mean? like
Yeah.
just their feature. Oh man, so they're
Yeah.
eating a lot of money. I mean, they're
Eating
eating
a
a lot.
lot of money, but for the privacy of not showing up on the PulseChain side for sells.
Mm.
So, yeah, I mean, there's like 100 million or yeah, 100 million a day. No, maybe it was more than that. Maybe it was a billion a day. I forget what the number was. But the guy had like 400 billion PulseChain, and I think they're only down to I don't even know what it is now, but look into it if you want. But there's been a major seller that I think that has caused almost every one of these red candles, um, just kind of doing it in a shady way. But the reason people haven't really been there's a few that out there that know about it. The reason they didn't report on it is because they didn't want to cause FUD. The guy had a lot, and he was apparently doing okay. So he had 100 billion left. Mr. Sojourner says, I don't know how
Oh,
many he
okay.
started with, but yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway,
he's out of most of it, I believe. I saw
right.
today. Yeah.
So almost out. So if that becomes our last heavy hitter as a major seller that's just been consistently dumping every day or every couple days, that's also bullish. So
Yeah, it
yeah,
is. And that's why I agree with you on like, oh, we don't want to, don't report on it. It's on the blockchain. I mean, it's on the blockchain. It's going to be out there. This whole like censoring thing and stuff from anybody is just never the way to go. I understand it, but you just can't, I mean, look at people in life, look at people in different sorts of media and things that try to censor things like that. I mean, there are ways of framing different things. Just, you know, frame it the correct way. And the correct way is like, hey, at least we can see all this on the blockchain. And we know how much the dude, we know everything practically. We know
right,
everything the guy holds. They even found out like where he's selling it and stuff like that, that he's eating all these fees from slippage and MetaMask swap and stuff like that. These
right,
other chains, Solana, I'm just naming the big ones, but like other big VC backed chains, again, we talk about this all the time. And this is what, I don't think some people understand with PulseChain. And yeah, it sucks the prices are down. Yeah, some of the times the volatility sucks and stuff like that. But also, there aren't all these mega VCs that bought at prices that we were never aware of. Like Ewok and I and all of you watching had the ability, whether you did it or not, to buy the lows on PulseChain back in whatever it was, August, maybe last year, September. I'm not sure.
right.
But we all had that chance. Like there was a time when PulseX had 5 zeros in front of it that we were
Yeah.
buying. Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yep.
did you do it or not? I mean, we had a chance to. Like we bought the bottom.
Better than anybody did for sacrifice. At least that opportunity's been there, and I don't think it was Rockham. So that
Yeah.
wallet is pretty well known, and there's been a lot of eyes on it. So I don't think it's him or
Maybe it was
Overwatch.
Anus, maybe it was Anus Alex or whatever other butt alliteration we want to give anybody.
Right.
Because we did have Alex the Whale, if anybody remembers that whole saga.
I do. I
Yeah.
do. I don't think
Yeah.
that guy started with 500 billion though.
No, and it was Hex, I believe. So um
Yeah.
okay. So so interesting. I mean, yeah, so I guess to finish this off, like just looking at the chart anyway, I mean, I'm hoping that we continue obviously to hold this area as support, and I'd like us to go up someday, whenever that may be. But man, we could be in for some volatility here. I mean, we really could be in, hopefully to the upside. I mean, if this ETH thing does go through, and that you would, again, that should be bullish for the entire crypto industry, like
Yeah.
across the board. So
Well, a lot of people forget that most of our value is tied and bridged over from Ethereum. So the better the Ethereum price does, the better it holds the value of the bridged in assets from the Ethereum chain. It will correlate directly to the price over here. So, this, I hate saying it because I think we said it back here and back here might be the last call to get good prices coming up soon. And if you haven't started DCAing, I'm not sure what you're waiting for at this point. If you haven't quite finished, well, you might want to and save a little just in case, but probably a
right.
good time to deploy some capital, because I think good things are definitely in our future here within the next couple months anyway.
Yeah, I mean, we're not even a 2x off the lows for PulseChain right now. So I mean, you're buying about, I don't know, 1.7x off the low or something like that at the moment. Alaska Fisherman, he says, I wish I bought the bottom but had no dry powder. Been buying lately, though it feels good to get at these prices. Yeah, and you know, I my comments certainly weren't like, oh, if you didn't buy it, it's your fault. I mean, I understand you need to be liquid also to buy it. My point was more so just that we had that opportunity, even like in other chains,
Right.
that never was available to you. Like a lot of them have these VC insider rounds, you know, bought at fractions of a penny that the open market never had access to. So, yeah, kudos to you though for DCAing hard at this point. So,
yeah. Bring this up too. Hexgirl brings up a good point. 9inch has that dollar cost average option to help you dollar cost average in to the market. So don't forget about that nice little tool that they launched.
Yeah. Hexy Bastard was talking about that last week. So good stuff for sure.
Yeah.